Hi everybody, this is Lara at Pure Elliott Wave. I'm going to update my analysis of Tesla for you. This was one you voted on in the last vote from the YouTube channel, so it's on my list. I'm going to update my Elliott Wave count and then I'm going to update my technical analysis. And when I do that, I'm going to follow the same tools and techniques that are in my new online course, Learn Pure Technical Analysis. It is 12 lessons teaching you a small, coherent, synergistic set of technical analysis tools and methods from beginning to end, including how a candlestick is formed and how to read it, right through to how to use RSI and ADX together. In lesson 12 I put it all together and I analyse a couple of markets, and Tesla was one that I analysed. I did this back in February, and at that stage, at that time when I analysed it, I identified it as a buying opportunity and I did buy some, and that investment so far is doing quite well. So I'm going to update it for my own purposes as well as for yours, if this is helpful to you. First of all, I have to import my data into MotiveWave. The last candlestick here is the 13th of February, so I've just downloaded the data from Yahoo Finance. I'm going to file, chart, import data, so this is how you do that into MotiveWave. I'm going to uncheck that, leave that because it's a stock, import, and there we go. So it did some sideways movement and now it's gone higher. So overall my wave count for Tesla is very bullish. It sees a cycle degree first wave over here, a cycle degree second wave over here. Starting on the early stages of cycle wave 3, my target 1,184. So looking at the weekly chart, we're now looking at the end of cycle, super cycle 2 here. Sorry, cycle 2, not super cycle, not cycle. I'm just going to update the count at the daily chart level actually. So I think, I think I want to label this intermediate wave 1. First of all, I'm going to move the degree of labeling up. That's actually something that's pretty easy to do on MotiveWave, and I'll show you how. So I'm going to delete this, but I'm going to leave the subwaves, and you can do it with one click. I love this. Degree, increase degree, and it increases all of it. So let's go back to daily. So I'm going to see this as intermediate wave 1 here. Intermediate 2 looks like maybe it was a flat. And intermediate 3 in its early stages, all still within primary wave 1. So the longer term invalidation will have to remain down here, because eventually when it arrives, primary 2 will probably be a bear market, but it can't move beyond the start of 1. For my own purposes, I plan on holding this for at least 5 years. I like one of Warren Buffett's famous quotes: only invest in something if you're prepared to hold it for at least 5 years. I'm thinking 5 to 7 years for this one. Nope, can't be a flat because B is only 83% of A. So will A subdivide as a leading diagonal? No, it doesn't. The third wave's too short. Okay, so maybe there's, must be an impulse. Or, oh no, I think this is probably a double zigzag. That's going to have a bit of fit, isn't it? Oh, and I think, I don't know if it's going to have the, if I put that there, now this is going to fit as a zigzag. Oh yeah, and C has got a nice 5 wave look to it. W now looks like a zigzag. That's good. X could be an expanded flat, but B is so long in relation to A. It's 2.68. That's really long. Is C going to subdivide as a 5? Yeah, is it? Yeah. Okay, I think that's how I'd label that, even though it's not the most common. It meets all the rules and it fits. Okay, so for intermediate 3, it may only subdivide as an impulse. Yeah, I think minor 1 could be over there. I don't know. No, I think I'd put minute 1 over here. Minor 1 could be over here. Minor 2 could be over as a flat. B is a 1.74 length of A, or 173.9%. That's okay. It's within a guideline of up to 2. I have found they can be longer though. Okay, third wave looks good, has strongest momentum. I'm using MACD, that's why I have it here. Fifth wave exhibits a little bit of weakness. The third wave is by far the longest. I'm not going to spend time looking for Fibonacci ratios in there. So the next wave up would be a third wave at minor degree within a third wave at intermediate degree. But for the short term now, the invalidation point is down here, 152.64. Minor 2 might not be over. That does look rather brief and shallow. So this could just be wave A or wave W of a combination double flat or a flat correction. So let's pull a Fibonacci retracement in here. Okay, I am actually going to change this labeling, and I'm going to say that this could be a combination. No, I don't know. Maybe it's a flat correction. And that first expanded flat was just wave A, and now wave B is going to move higher. So that tells us to expect more sideways and downward movement. So I'm going to say at this stage my target for support for minor 2 would be 233.97498, or about 234, round that up. That looks about reasonable. The most likely structure for minor 2 to be would be an expanded flat, or a next structure, a regular flat. It could also be a combination or a double flat. And then a resumption of the bull market. Within the next move for Tesla should be a third wave at minor and intermediate degree within primary wave 1. So that's the Elliott wave count. Let's have a look and see what support there is. I'm going to use the tools and techniques that I have in that new online course, which is on special this week, all week, and the special ends on Sunday at midday. So if you want to pick that up, 12 lessons, it's going to teach you how to do what I'm just about to do for Tesla. And this is what I did back in February when I identified a buying opportunity and bought some Tesla. And I'm going to hang on to that for quite a while, a few years, like I said. I'm looking at the weekly chart first, and I just want to look, how does RSI behave? Because I notice back at this low down here, week beginning 8th of January 2023, RSI has reached oversold. Has it done that before? How extreme can RSI get for Tesla? It did that again back here. This was May 2019. That's associated with a long-term sustained low, or a low that is sustained to this date. It did it also almost back here in February 2016. So those two prior occurrences are associated with a low that's been sustained for the entire price history so far of Tesla. So it looks highly likely that this low back in January 2023 is highly likely to be sustained. This is one reason why I bought some back in February. There's a lot of strength up off lows. This candlestick here is a bullish hammer candlestick pattern. That's a reversal pattern, and volume is pushing price higher. Range increases here as well with upward movement. Actually, we've got two hammer candlesticks down here. So on the weekly chart, this still looks just as bullish. This upward movement here, this last big push, did within it come with some increase in volume, but not as strong as the start. So there is a little bit of weakness in there. On balance, volume would be giving us no new signals. It has no new range. I can draw trend lines around, so there's no breakout to give us a signal. ADX is telling us there's an upward trend in a relatively early stage at the weekly time frame. It rose up from below both DX lines, coming up from low levels below the positive and negative DX. Now it's rising. It's above 15, but it's nowhere near extreme. This is a very early stage of a potential trend, or a trend according to ADX for Tesla. RSI is still in neutral territory, hasn't reached overbought, and there's no bearish divergence, so there's no danger for this upward trend at this stage. So that fits with the view, possibly from my Elliott wave analysis, of a relatively shallow pullback or consolidation for a second wave. And ATR is declining as price moves higher. There's only a little bit of a concern there. That's the weekly time frame. Let's look at daily. Here's the low in January. There was a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. That's a very strong bullish candlestick pattern, and it had push from volume. What's the situation like now? There is no bearish candlestick reversal pattern at this high. There was a gap here that could be a breakaway gap. And now there's a consolidation. Price is moving sideways for the last week or so. As price is moving sideways, volume is declining. That's normal behavior for a consolidation. The first movement up off the low was very strong, good strong push from volume. And then we had overall some sideways movement, and then the last big rise up to the last short-term high for Tesla did include strong push from volume, but we start to see these downward sessions being stronger than upward, so it's unsurprising we're now getting some upward movement. The very last push up to this high does come with declining volume. Now, in terms of Elliott wave, and this is not on my technical analysis course, but I do have another course, Learn Pure Elliott Wave, that's not on special this week, but it is available on the website. This Elliott wave analysis expects that this upward movement could have been a B wave, and it does come with declining and light volume. A little bit of a rise toward the end, but overall declining volume during that upward movement. From here to here, volume declined. So yeah, that fits with the idea of a B wave. That's what a B wave should look like. Now, this is not definitive. This is a balance of probability. I can't see how I could draw trend lines around on-balance volume. There's no new range, so no lines to break out of. This is what I mean by this is a nice little range. You will draw a resistance line along these three peaks. When it's broken above, that's a bullish signal. Here you draw a support line. When it's broken below, that's a bearish signal. Likewise, a support line along here, and when that's broken, that's a bearish signal. So I'm looking for these little ranges that on-balance volume forms, and I show you how to do that in the course. ADX is declining. There's no clear trend. I do think price is likely to be consolidating. At the daily time frame, ADX reached very extreme, above 45 and above both DX lines. So yes, that fits with the view that we're probably going to get some pullback or consolidation before the upward trend resumes. And because my view of this purchase is very long term, I'm not concerned about small weekly or even monthly swings. I'm only concerned about the bigger picture. RSI reached quite extremely overbought and it has exhibited bearish divergence. That fits with the Elliott wave count that expects that last upward wave was a B wave. And again, this fits with the view that we're going to get some consolidation or pullback. So if I were looking at buying some more Tesla, and I think I might, I'm going to wait to see if that consolidation or pullback does unfold as I expect, and then I might be ready to buy a little bit more when I think it's found its low, so I can get a nice entry point. So I'm going to follow this Elliott wave structure and see if it unfolds as expected. Maybe I'll update this again in another couple of weeks, and I'll post that on the YouTube channel for you as well if I do that. So a final reminder, this Learn Pure Technical Analysis with me as your host is available on special all week this week. 12 lessons teaching you how to do what I just did using classic technical analysis, a set of tools and techniques that work really well together. I've put these tools and techniques together and I've chosen them because they work well, really well together and cover all the most important aspects of technical analysis. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right. Thank you for watching and thank you for your support, everybody.